And we're back with Curtis Sliwa, and we're going to go into the dirty business of politics. I'm opening it up to you.
Well, recently you heard Dana White.
Yes.
Couldn't be closer with Donald Trump, UFC, who runs one of the dirtiest businesses. It's fighting. And not only that, you're on the ground. Bam, bam. Yeah. It's a dirty business. So after the election, he gets elbowed out. He still loves Trump, but it's all Elon Musk. You know, he won the Derby. Bam. So Dana White gives an interview. He goes, you know, it's the dirtiest business I've ever been in. So the interviewer said, oh, you mean UFC, mixed martial arts? No, it's no politics. I will never get involved with politics again. I love Trump. Whatever I can do to help him, I will not get involved in those political battles because your friend today is your enemy tomorrow. No different than the guys I grew up with. You go for a meal, they take you for a ride and whack you in the back of the head after reminiscing. In politics, the only thing that's different, you don't have dead bodies. Except with the Clintons, you know, the Clinton crime family. What are they, like 55 friends of the Clintons? Mysterious disappearances. Jeffrey Epstein, right? Yeah, sure, he committed suicide. Yeah, sure he did. So the point being, there are exceptions to what I say. But I tell everyone who's running, your friend today is your enemy tomorrow.
Yes.
Don't ever change. Give a perfect example. The last time I ran for mayor, you know who ran against Alvin Bragg for DA as a Republican? Tom Caniff, the guy who just defended Daniel Penny and did a magnificent job. So we're standing on the corner of 14th Street, Union Square. You know, people are coming up to me. I'm introducing him to retail politics. I give up everything to run. The Republicans give me the line, and then they give me Ugats. They give me bupkis. He goes, finally, Curtis, I make enough noise. They have a meeting at the National Republican Women's Club, which is right near Rockefeller Center. The big macha in New York sits with me and he said, we're going to help you, Tom. We're going to give you $1,000 check, which is nothing. And then the kicker is he goes, you know what? They didn't even give the $1,000 check. They were a welcher. And you know what it's like. You're playing cards, you gamble. The worst thing you could be is a welcher. Yeah. You got to be a good loser or you got the mark on you. The GOP in New York City and New York State, they run to lose. They don't run to win. What do they first say? They say, a Republican has no chance to win. That becomes a self-defeating prophecy.
Yes, you can't keep saying
that. All they want is the scout. With our consultants, can we take the money, put our beak in the trough, just like organized crime, kick up to the big guys, and leave you holding your three-piece set in your hands.
Right.
That's the way I felt like. That's the way other candidates feel like, and it's got to change. But it is, without a doubt, the dirtiest business in the world, politics. Your friends today, your foes tomorrow, like they didn't even know you.
So tell us, Curtis, what is Curtis Sliwa campaigning on? What you're going to do different? How you're going to help this city of New York, this great city? What are you going to do different than the current administration that's in there now? Give us a little insight as to how you would be a better mayor than what we've had, not just now, but even in the previous mayor as well, because I'm not a big fan of de Blasio, and now you got Eric Adams in there.
Well,
I want to know what
let's
you're
put
do
it
different.
in the context of organized crime, right?
Sure.
Organized crime guys, if they're going to cooperate, they get the profit, right? They make them queen for the day. That's what Eric Adams is today, Erica. He's auditioning. He's auditioning to become MAGA man, right, with Trump. Anything to get a pardon, a pre-pardon. He will buck, he will bow, he will kiss the ring, he will kiss Donald Trump's tuchus. His lips are hermetically sealed on the guy's ass because there's only one motivation. If you read the five indictments, and people don't read the indictments, they read, upgrades. No. There's straw donuts from Turkey, foreign money. He's dead. He's going to jail. He needs what they call a pre-pardon. Okay. Rarely is it given, but Trump will give him a pre-pardon, which means you take the pardon, but you don't have to admit any guilt. Now, if you get a pardon after your trial, you're found guilty, you have to admit guilt. So, man, he's playing the trifecta, the troika, the trinity. I'm a MAGA man. He's a fake, phony, fraudulent fugazi with his beak in the trough, getting wine-dined and pocket-lined by guys in the suites. I'm in the streets. I'm the people's mayor. I don't ask anybody for anything. All I say is if after 46 years you don't understand that I'm honest, well, then I should get a job hanging wallpaper. Because if I haven't proven to you who Curtis Sliwa is, then go out. Go elect another Democratic fugazi who promise you everything, like de Blasio and Eric Adams and Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo, King Cuomo II, the son of Mario Faccia Bruta Cuomo, King Cuomo I. These guys, they pick your pockets, but because you're a Democrat, it's like you bend over and they don't even give you the Petrogel. That's the bottom line. I tell voters straight up, in the streets you can talk like that. In the suites, Curtis, he's a street guy.
Yeah.
Oh, they love this. They say up in the suites in Wall Street, they say, Curtis is a very popular person. He'll get a lot of votes, but he doesn't know how to govern. Oh, and Cuomo did, and de Blasio did, and Eric Adams. No, because you can't bribe me.
Right.
I don't want any of your money. If what you are saying is valid, then I listen.
I don't understand how the New Yorkers don't want this. I don't know why the New Yorkers wouldn't want to have New York cleaned up in a better way, a better light, a brighter light. It hasn't been for many, many years. Nothing's been cleaned up.
Well, it's like I live on the Upper West Side, which I hate. Mm-hmm. I do it for my wife because she loves Central Park. She loves Riverside Park. And without her, that's it. It would be over for me.
We'll have to have her on next.
Oh, absolutely.
With you.
How she puts up with me. Mm-hmm. So I walk out into the street to get a cup of coffee. And all the out-the-cockers are lined up. Curtis, we got a crime problem now. Could you bring the guardian angels? And I said, not for nothing. Did you vote for Alvin Bragg? Yes, I did. Did you vote for Eric Adams? Yes, I did. Well, now you must suffer.
Right.
Now you must suffer. See, they have to have more pain. The only way they're going to end up flipping the script and voting for me or Republicans, there still has to be more pain. They're still so inculcated to think the Republicans are evil and the Democrats have the backs of the working class people, which that's no longer the case. It was when I was growing up.
When I was growing up, I was a Democrat all the way. I was always
Totally.
Democrat.
Totally.
Coming from Brooklyn, being a New Yorker, Democrat. This is not the Democratic Party I grew up with. It is not. It's not. And that's what people need to understand. It's just not the Democratic
the key
Party.
Is, and I'm training young men, young women, blacks, Hispanics, Asians. They'll be the future of the Republican Party. You have to go into neighborhoods where the only Republican they ever saw was Abraham Lincoln on a $5 bill. Mm-hmm. Because they're banking on the fact that the Democrats got a lock in those neighborhoods. And the Republicans are, but what if they yell at me and say, F you? I said, well, that's why you come with me.
Right.
They may not vote for me, but they have respect for me. And then I do the introduction for you. Because if you've never been there before, why should they vote for you?
Right.
They'll tell you straight up, I've never spoken to a Republican before. Nobody's ever come to my door, my place of business. Nobody's ever asked me on the subway, would you vote for me? The only ones who come to me are Democrats. So if the only ones coming to you are Democrats, you figure, why should I vote for them?
Right.
They don't even come to my neighborhood.
Right.
And I can't argue with that because then Republicans are fair-weathered friends. All they want to do is, in New York City, deal with pockets. No. You got to go in the hood.
Right.
You got to deal with the hood rats. You don't do that, you're going to lose.
Yeah, you have to get deep and dirty down and get in the mud.
So, in terms of political talking points, I know off camera you and I believe discussed some stuff like, we got homeless people living on the streets of New York City, but yet they're paying for housing of illegal migrants coming into the city, and they're housing them in hotels.
That's horrible.
We have homeless people on the streets in New York. There's a situation, they legalize marijuana. And, if you're walking down the street with a little kid, you smell marijuana all over the street. You walk outside in a building out in the open air, there's a constant smell and odor of marijuana. What about the people that don't smoke marijuana? I have a problem with that. That's another issue. There's a multitude of other issues. I'd like to know
quality of life. It's quality of life
what
issues.
you would do differently, what the current administration's doing wrong, so on and so forth.
Straight up, remember, Comrade de Blasio, the part-time mayor, the dope from Park Slope, who used to sit on the back porch of Gracie Mansion and do puff pass, with Maui Wowie Hindu Kush with his crooked wife Charlene. It took $1.5 billion of our money to help the emotionally disturbed and homeless that I deal with all the time. And you know what? It's in a bank somewhere in Panama, Antigua, or Switzerland. And because it's all Democrats, they don't eat their own babies. They know they're crooks. They should both be in jail. Then Eric Adams comes in. They took $1 billion out of the police budget. I'm a cop, 22 years. I put on the bulletproof. I don't want to hear that crap. He was a house mouse. He never left the precinct. This guy was afraid of his own child. You ask him, how many collars did you make? He was good at taking the test and getting white shirt immunity. He was no cop busting his shoes. They got drones. They got freaking robots. You show me a drone that ever made an arrest, right? You need cops. And you got to let cops do the job.
That's the big problem right now. Police officers in New York City, they're afraid to do their job. They're not supported. They have not been supported. They're in fear to step out of line, have somebody press charges on them. Everything they do,
really have gotten a bit.
They're being persecuted.
really
I've been
have.
locked up 80 times. Then I love it when they talk about Rikers Island. Oh, Rikers. Hey, Eric, you ever been locked up in Rikers Island? Oh, you were locked up one day in Spotsford. What did you pee in your pants and they let you go? Oh, in Spotsford. They had me in the dorm. They had me in the Bing. They had me in Punk City. That's when the cops hated me and they give me a wooden shampoo and a concrete facial every time they lock me up. And they put me in with these mutts and scales, 40 in a dorm, saying, hey, welcome. Go to sleep and we're going to beat the hell out of you, right? That's the real deal about Rikers. And they're this and this. And I say, you know nothing about Rikers. They talk as if they know, like they're tough guys. Like Eric Adams, I was a cop. Why didn't you put the $1 billion back? They took $1 billion from the police department. Well, they always come up with excuses. Now, the one thing I would return to the cops that we all knew, young, teenagers, older, when they pulled the wooden stick out, right? The nightstick, and went like this. That's business.
Yeah.
That meant you crossed that line.
You're going to get
You're
it.
going to get collared. You're going to get locked up. You know how many people had priors, even not paying child support and all that stuff, they would back off. Now, what do they grab onto? They're wrestling with people in the streets. People are hitting them in the head, and they're getting a disappearance ticket, a little desk appearance ticket, and they're basically cursing out the cops.
It's disgusting because the era I grew up in is that even the guys that I know growing up, my brothers, street guys, Gotti, all of them, when you get arrested, you're a gentleman. You don't do what they do today to the law enforcement. There's no respect for law enforcement, and that's disgusting. The word respect isn't in our vocabulary anymore for no one. That's what has to be brought back also, is that you have these police officers that are going out and putting their life on the line to protect the city, to protect the people. Then you just want to call 911 when you have a problem.
I'd like to be able to see the police officers. I need an electron microscope for the shorties out there.
Yeah.
Hey, are you a police officer or are you a Lilliputian here? It's like, please, 4'2", soaking wet, 88 pounds.
They're not
no
going to have
hat on
respect
their
for
head,
them.
And all they got is they're looking in their cell phone 24/7. I could be mugging somebody in front of them.
They don't
know
do
it.
anything.
You think that puts fear into
No.
any of these thugs?
No.
A little shorty short? No. And
No.
they show fear. You can see they're like, they don't even want to. Look, a cop has to be able to fornicate and mad dog these guys. That's all they respect. I'm sorry. That's the way it is.
I can't disagree. I can't disagree with you. The reality of it is we need a stronger police force.
Law enforcement in
They
general.
are not respected. And you got crime running rampant.
Look at
throughout
when
the city.
President Trump just got shot. The frontline female.
They were too short.
No, she was afraid. You
I
could
know.
see she
well,
was.
there's the one fumbling the
she
gun
was-
like
she
Barney
was
Fife
shaking.
in Mayberry RFD.
I mean,
But the reality is, you see, these are people who've never been in the streets. They're in the
Right.
suites. They have no concept of how the
How it
streets
works.
eat you up and spit you out. It's
Oh, yeah.
Darwinian, survival of the fittest. I would never have been locked up in so many jails, Mr. Crime Fighter, and survived if I didn't understand
no,
that.
you have to have the survival skills. You
Exactly,
have to.
and you got to understand.
Yes.
There's a time to be polite. There's a time to understand that you have to leave in good graces with people, but these people have never had the street experience. So they'll look at me, oh, you're a vigilante, you're a tough guy, you're a street guy. Yes, I may be all three of those, but you know something? I also have intellect, and I can mesh them all in, whereas everyone you've chosen so far, none of them have street experience. Eric Adams, he's a fugazi. De Blasio, he's afraid of his own shadow. And Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo, the moment they were going to impeach him, he ran away from Albany. Did Trump run when they impeached him? Hell no. You stand and you fight for what you know is right. Trump has balls. You know what they are? They're geldings. If you've ever been to the races.
Yes, I know
you
what a
say, is that
gelding
a
is.
stallion? Nah,
No,
he
it's
got
a-
clipped.
yeah.
He got snipped, like capons, right? And you know a guy has been clipped when they're having capon on Thanksgiving and not turkey. It's over for guys.
Yes.
That's marriage. It's
Yeah.
it's the full catastrophe.
The reality of it is, in New York City, it's not like some of the other cities around. When you get into big cities, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, it's not like some of the other big cities around the country, these other smaller cities rather around the country. You got to be tougher here. It's
You
a
have-
tougher environment.
yeah.
I mean, we're talking about what we grew up with earlier.
Yes.
You know, around killers and street guys.
It's the strong
and
survive.
you know, you cannot have a soft police force. Otherwise, you're going to have
crime.
this crime and this degeneration
Yep.
of what's been going on in this city.
Well,
and
you
it
have,
needs to change.
you have a new generation of thugs. You have Venezuelans. You have Dominicans. Old guys, right, their sons and daughters, they're not into that anymore.
No.
But you have new generations of thugs, and they're just as much thugs. So if you don't have correctional officers and cops who can control the situation, then you have anarchy. And it's only going to breed more criminals because they're going to see there are no consequences. You could spit at a cop. You can hit a cop.
I know. It's disgraceful.
You could kick a cop, and guess what? You get released right
I
into
know.
the streets.
Well, we're going to close out with that. I want to thank you so much for being my guest today and coming on and sharing, and I'd love to have you back again. I learned a lot from hearing you today. I'd love for everyone to vote for him. He really wants to clean up New York City. I mean, he's proven it.
And he's been a civil servant since the 1970s.
I mean,
this guy has been working for free, trying to do things in New York City for decades. Decades. That's a key thing that needs to be looked at, especially in this next election coming up in 2025.
he really, really, as my subscribers, I would suggest vote for him, and thank you for tuning in. Press the subscribe button, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
God
Of
bless.
course. Let's take some photos because I know
Yeah.
you have to run. All right.